So, the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie came out quite a bit ago, and I, weirdly enough, did not make a movie review about it, despite the fact that I've made multiple videos talking about Five Nights at Freddy's 2, but thoughts on the film were so conflicting and fuzzy that I needed to wait for a second rewatch. And I did have a second rewatch, and my thoughts were still fuzzy. This is such a weird movie to talk about and make a video about, because I try not to let my bias as a FNAF fan stand in the way, while also trying not to... Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know what to really say about this movie, so I'm here without a script, without any preparation, just gonna speak my mind on the movie. I've seen it 3 times now. I watched it back on Christmas Eve digitally with my sister and my brother, and I think I finally have all my thoughts in order. For starters, this is a better FNAF adaptation than the first movie, but it's not a better movie than the first movie, if that makes sense. You see, it felt like the first movie just had a more coherent and self-contained story, something that didn't need to rely on a sequel while still setting it up. Like, we had Mike, Vanessa, and Abby all go through their character arcs. We had William Afton showing up. We had a lot of animatronics, some action, some side characters. But the first movie also felt really muddled in its pacing. It was admittedly a little slow at points, and a lot of complaints I remember was that it wasn't scary enough, and William Afton didn't have enough screen time. And these were a lot of the problems people wanted to see fixed with the second movie. Now, were they? That's what I'm going to get into, both objectively and subjectively. Let's just go down the movie's plot. So, we start off the movie with William Afton greeting us, welcoming us back, and having a little fourth wall break, telling us to stay till the very end for a little surprise. This was good. I like this a lot. In fact, the whole opening scene in 1982 with Charlie, young Vanessa, and William Afton in the clean spring Bonnie suit were amazing. There was so much tension. The characters I felt like were introduced and set up well, and Charlie's motivation, we find out later in the film, I feel like was presented very well here. I've seen a lot of complaints that the writing wasn't the best for the parents, but I don't know. My parents thought it was pretty realistic from when they were in the 80s. So take with that what you will. After that, we get another 8-bit intro with the movie intro theme by the Noon Brothers, which is even better than the first. And we wake up with Vanessa calling Mike. They're going on a date, and we find out Abby misses her friends, but she's adjusting to school. Jeremiah is now Mike's best friend, and Aunt Jane is still alive, but was committed to a mental asylum after being attacked by Golden Freddy. The movie basically follows 2 plots from this point, one with Mike and Vanessa trying to deal with the trauma in their own way, while Abby is off with the science fair and trying to repair and find her friends again. Honestly, I don't have an issue with the science fair. I quite like all the science fair stuff. I think Wayne Knight gives a really good performance. He's funny in every scene. And I like this, a lot of the side characters, Jeremiah, Wayne Knight, the ghost, hunters, and even Freddie Carter's character, the security guard. I think every single side character shows up when they need to, they say what they need to say, they tell their joke or add what they do to the story, and then they're gone. You know, it doesn't feel like there's a misallocation of runtime anywhere. At least, not for these guys yet. But I like a lot of the more human stuff. The first hour of the movie is honestly great, with setting up everything, introducing all the dynamics, and I do think that Mike and Vanessa's relationship is really sweet. Too bad Scott kind of butchered it, but that's a con. Then throughout the movie, we get Abby getting tricked by the fast talker. She frees the toys. Vanessa and Mike try to find and shut them down. And, that's where a lot of the chaos pursues. I will say what I liked about this movie was the set design. I think the pizzeria was great. I think the animatronics looked great. All the characters were dressed great. And I do feel like there was more dread and tension in this movie, despite less being at stake, admittedly. The animatronics all look great. These look like if you just plucked them straight out of the game and put them in real life. I think my favorite has to be Withered Freddy. The way Withered Freddy looks in the office scene when he's leaning over and reaching at Mike is genuinely perfect right out of the game. I think my second favorite would have to be Mangle. Mangle was perfect. Mangle was just so good. I'll also say that the voice acting for the main trio of animatronics, such as Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica, were great. Megan Fox was honestly a standout. She blew me away. I was not expecting her to actually be good at all, giving her Mortal Kombat 1 performance, but going back and watching Jennifer's Body and seeing all those clips online, I pushed my doubts aside and I was like, let's let the movie speak for itself. MatPat's Toy Bonnie didn't really have a lot of voice lines, but he killed it using the more AR-style chipmunk voice, and I really like that. You could barely tell it was him, while yet he was still giving these subtle mannerisms, being like, hey, that's MatPat. Alan Goff just kind of did his Glamrock Freddy voice, which did suck because originally he did want to do a more game-accurate UCN voice and just wasn't allowed to. It reminds me of that interview when Matthew Lillard originally wanted to give William Afton a British accent in the movies and Scott said no. Also, Freddie Carter's literally British. Why didn't you just have him stay? That's out of the way. That's a spoiler that I'll get into. I thought the music was also great. The music was amazing. The Noon Brothers were the right choice for this franchise. The reuse of older themes during the visitation of the pizzeria or William Afton scenes were great. I think my favorite scene in the entire movie had to be Vanessa's nightmare scene. Not only for the Easter egg of that character, and you know, you've seen it, Circus Baby showing up made my theater go electric. The young Vanessa, old Vanessa stuff was great. I'm glad they actually let the young Vanessa actress do more than what they let young Mike's actor do in the first movie. Matthew Lillard killed it as William Afton. He was perfect, a scene stealer, and the way it just went and ended, just showing Vanessa that she really can't escape the sins of her father, was great. It was just great. I think my least favorite scene throughout the entire movie had to be... And then there was also the scene, a close second favorite scene, was Mike playing FNAF 2, having to fend off against all the Withers animatronics. They all got their time to shine, except Wither Bonnie, rest in peace, and just looked great. They sounded great. I love the more animalistic noises and expressions and actions they all had. Just, oh man, there's just so much to like about this movie. And then the ending, when Freddie Carter reveals himself as Michael Afton and the classics come in, beat up the toys, and Jeremiah just clotheslines Mike. It was a fun time. It was, honestly, this was done way better than the Twisted ones in my opinion. And there were some scenes that actually kind of spooked me. Anything with the puppet or the puppet possession just scared me. The lanky limbs, the crawling on all fours, the animalistic behavior, that kind of stuff in any movie just sends a chill down my spine, and it was super effective here. The kills were more or less the same. Sure, there was a little more blood and a bit more gruesome sound effects, but nothing to really push the PG rating like some people were saying. And that's kind of it for what I have to say good about this movie. I think my biggest critique with this movie is it feels a little incomplete and the writing's kind of bad. Like, the movie just ends abruptly while Vanessa's getting possessed by the puppet. Like, Mike or Abby or Jeremiah wouldn't have heard that or anything. But we did have Henry being set up and William Afton coming back as Springtrap, the urban explorers finding Springtrap, taking him to the haunted attraction, setting up Fazbear Frights. That was kind of cool, but I don't know, it felt like the main story didn't really get resolved. It just got left on a huge cliffhanger. And that's the next thing. While I feel like the first movie had slower pacing, this movie's pacing was breakneck. And while yes, that fits in with the chaos of FNAF 2, for a movie, I don't think it works all too well. This did really feel like a Twisted Ones adaptation, but with a lot of elements taken from the games instead of the books. And the writing really was not the best. A lot of the dialogue just did not feel natural. I'm sorry, Scott, but you remind me a lot of George Lucas. You can't write dialogue. So I'm hoping for the third movie he gets a screenwriter in. And the movie also was not long enough. There were not enough scenes with the animatronics. Withered Bonnie and Toy Freddy and Toy Bonnie got shafted hard in the movie. It just felt like Toy Chica, Withered Chica, and Mangle got to be standout stars while no one else really got anything. The puppet was a standout star. I will say the puppet was amazing. And my final thing I'll say is Skeet Ulrich was perfect as Henry. His mannerisms, his dialogue, his acting, he embodied the grief-stricken, soul-searching, wandering father perfectly. Honestly, I think this might be my favorite interpretation of Henry. And so I hope we get to see more of him and Matthew Lillard as William Afton in the next movie. The fact they didn't have a scene together was criminal. But yeah, that's all I kind of have to say about FNAF 2. It was a good movie, a 7 out of 10 movie where there are definitely flaws I wish could change. And the reason I'm not as hard on it is because these are flaws that are not inherent with the movie and can be solved in the sequel. So yeah. Oh, one more thing. Freddie Carter as Michael Afton is great. We need more of him. Please bring him back in the sequel as well, or put him in his own Sister Location spinoff. Alright, that's all I gotta say. See y'all next time, and I'm hoping to upload quite a bit in January.